Well, hello again. Apparently, it is not just the new year that can bring unexpected things. Sometimes it is the first live encouragement here at BMA that is also unexpected, and you have to do it again. So think of it a bit as a metaphor. But I will tell you this, that this call and or this live training, and I think I may have even said it the last time I was here, is that we care at Redemption Press. We care just as much about your heart as we do your skill. And so honestly, I would gladly do this 20 times. We hope that is not the case, that we have to do that, but I would gladly do it because I think this space for us as authors, yes, is it important that we write well? Yes. Yes, is it important that we market well? Yes, is it important that we communicate and we speak well? The answer is a resounding yes. But it is also important for us to encourage one another on, even when there are a million things that we could be doing. Sometimes that's the one that counts the most. So, with hope in my heart that this is the last time that you have to hear this, or, well, not necessarily hear it, or go live, that this one sticks. Let's begin with just a little word of encouragement for us. I think there is something unexpectedly sacred about a new year, or maybe it is expectedly, but that turning of the page, I think for us as authors, as one year ends and another one begins, it's almost a natural living out of the mercy of a new morning. Every morning begins with his mercy. And I think of a turn of a new year really follows that principle. And so I think we like to believe as authors, as speakers, as message communicators, that January automatically arrives with blank pages, fresh ink, untouched by disappointments or fears or unanswered prayer that maybe was present in the year before. But the truth is, we do not step into a new year empty-handed. We carry our stories with us. And as writers, we often carry even more. Maybe unfinished manuscripts, maybe rejected proposals, maybe words that in our mind's eye and our opinion, just quite frankly, felt like they came too slowly or maybe too painfully. Seasons where obedience felt quiet and where fruit of that obedience felt scarce. Maybe there are moments where we wondered if the story that God had placed and has placed in our hands will ever find its way to a page. And yet, here we are at the beginning of a new year, still called, still chosen, still held by the God of the universe. And I want to encourage those of you who may be in that tension of, I wanted the first month of the year to feel different. I wanted the hard that ended my 2025 not to carry into 2026, or my unmet expectations, or all the things that I was carrying and have carried into 2026. But this is what I can leave you with. Trusting God with a new year doesn't mean that all of a sudden we just feel confident and certain about everything. It's not going to happen. It means that we bring all of it, the fear, the longing, the weariness, maybe even the excitement or the hope or the joy, and we place it back into the hands of a Father, because He never required certainty from us. Instead, He asks us for our surrender. And I don't know about you, but that is a place where I find peace, where I take all the things that I have zero control over, whether it's in my writing or my relationships or in my job or my family or whatever that looks like. When I open my hands to surrender, that's what I can be certain about, that God has me. Often we are reminded, and really honestly, I don't know about you, but sometimes I am a slowly painful learner. And God has to remind me over and over again that He is not waiting for me to have it all together before He meets us in the process. He meets us instead in the messiness, in the questions, in the hallways between what was and what will be. He is present when the doors feel closed, even as we wish they could just fly open. A new year doesn't guarantee ease, but I can tell you this. A new year does promise presence. Presence of a Father who so recklessly loves us that He meets us right where we are. And that is enough. It's enough in our uncertainty. It's enough in our confidence. It's enough in everything in between. And it's enough when, much like this live, before everything falls apart. So I want to encourage you with this. When you stand here, and honestly, it is almost January 30th, and I can tell you that there's already a whole lot of what in the world is happening. But I know as I stand here on the threshold of February, and I can tell you with certainty, whether you are brimming with excitement or you are quietly bracing yourself, God is not asking you to sprint into the new year with a 5-step plan and perfect clarity. He is asking you, inviting you to walk with Him one faithful step at a time. I know that some of you are trusting God with a book that feels too tender to touch again. I know that some of you are trusting Him with a calling that hasn't unfolded in the way you had hoped. And I know some of you are just simply struggling with trying to begin again and trust Him in the process. And all of that counts. I am here to tell you all of that counts, because trusting God can look like showing up on days when there is no inspiration. Trusting God can look like writing the truth even when it costs you. Trusting God can look like laying down the timeline and the plans and the metrics and choosing obedience instead, as hard as it is. Even when the words come slowly, He is still at work. Even when the year feels uncertain, He is already there. And even when you don't know how the story ends, He is still the author. He is still good, and He is still present. This year doesn't belong to the hustle and the bustle and all the new year mumbo jumbo that the world throws at us. It belongs to a God who is faithful, who is asking us to be faithful. It belongs to the quiet, unseen moments where you choose to write anyway, to pray anyway, to believe that God entrusted something to you that matters, even when the outcome remains unknown. So, as you step forward, as we step forward, may we trust Him not only with our goals, not only with our plans, not only with our 5 steps, but may we trust Him with our stories. May we trust Him with the pace it's being told, with the process, with the places that feel weak or small or unsure or overwhelming. Because I will tell you, my friends, the same God who met you in the hardest places and the hardest chapters of your life in the past is already present in the pages ahead of you. And even when the new year and all that comes into it is new, and so is the uncertainty, He is still enough. So I pray that you rest deeply in that promise. He holds our stories, my friends. Probably one of the most beautiful gifts of being an author, a speaker, a communicator, is we get to live in the reality of what story can do when there is a God who is holding the pen. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I will pray all of these things over you, and that this live worked a little bit better than the last one. But if not, we'll show up again, because we are just as much about encouraging you forward as we are about the 5 steps or the process or the craft, because it's all important to the heart of a father. So I will say goodbye, and actually also hope to see you tomorrow at our newest Fun Filtered webinar extravaganza, where we'll dive into some new truths and new things that hopefully will be a little bit steadying in this crazy thing we call life and the author life. Let's be real. So have a beautiful day, and I will see many of you tomorrow. Take care.